Alright, so I'm going to show how to open up and disassemble this ASUS UX330U. Alright, so we're going to need a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver, and then most likely inside we're going to need a JIS1 or PH1, and possibly a JIS0 PH0, but we'll see. Alright, so first thing, let's go ahead and remove all the screws from the bottom. Again, these are T5 or Torx 5 screws. You want to keep them in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that, I put the flat side down like that. In the pattern I remove them, so you have this rectangular pattern. This back side has 3 screws, and then the front here has 4, so that's how I keep track of it. So far this middle screw is longer than the other one that I took out. So again, it's very important, keep the screws in order. If you mix them up, you can damage the computer. Alright, so just be careful with that. Okay, so far the other screws seem to be the shorter type. Right, if this video helps you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my channel with others so that they can also learn how to upgrade or repair their devices. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel so that I can continue making these videos for a living. These are customer computers that I'm working on. So if you're wondering why a lot of times I don't completely tear down the computers, it's because, again, they are customer computers, and if I damage other things, taking things apart or take extra time, then the customer is not going to be happy about that. So anyways, let's go ahead and get all those screws out. All right, let's see if we can pop this up with a suction cup. So let's see. Okay, so far the front is coming up pretty easily, but that might just be the battery is bad and maybe it's having some issue. So let's see here. Okay, so since this side came up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift here, and then I'm going to kind of flex the case in using my thumb like this, and sometimes that will undo the little clips back here. So as you can see, I'm sliding my fingernail through the back and helping that. There might actually be some screws under here, so let me check that real quick. A lot of times ASUS likes to hide screws under these corner pieces, these corner rubber things. So let's see if I can lift this out. It's really tough to get this one out. I might have to use a small flathead screwdriver. Alright, let's switch over to a small flathead screwdriver here and see if we can lift this. And let's get under here and see if we can lift that up. And wow, this rubber piece is really tough to lift. Okay, it's slowly peeling out. Ouch. And I was right. So here you can see there's a hidden screw there. And these rubber pieces are really tough to get out. You want to be careful not to scratch up the case. So the way I do that is I put the flathead in and I kind of push it against the rubber piece. I know it's a little hard to see, but basically get it in, and then while you're kind of lifting it and pushing it at the same time. And you also want to do it pretty slow. You want to lift this very slowly so that the adhesive can slowly peel up. Right, and once you get underneath, you want to move the thing closer and slowly peel that out. There we go. Okay, so it looks like we're going to need a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver to remove the back 2 corner screws. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove those 2. Just like that, and just like that. Alright, so hopefully now with those 2 screws removed, we can lift the cover up. Again, there are still clips holding on around there. So I am going to flex the case, bow it up like that. All right. Okay, this side as well. I'm using my fingernail again over here. You can use plastic pry tools, and there we go. And all right, there's nothing holding this down. So there we go. The bottom cover came out. So we're just going to do a quick look inside. There's an M.2 SATA SSD in here. So this isn't a PCIe NVMe, it's a M.2 SATA. You want to keep track of this. So you see the red cable wires are on this side, and then the black are towards the center. This seems to be the RAM is under here, but it's soldered in place, so you can't do anything about it. You got a connector connecting the USB port, headphone jack, and SD card slot here, as well as the speaker cable and the fan cable. So if for some reason this stuff isn't working, this might be the reason, this cable. All right, you got the wireless card here, 1 screw. If you want to see how to remove some of these things, make sure to watch my other videos. You also have these little connectors here. This is for the keyboard. This is most likely for the, I don't know if this has keyboard backlight. Actually, this might be for the trackpad. And If this is a brown cable, which I'd have to peel up this tape, it's most likely the keyboard backlight under here, which is the same connectors with these little flip latches. Then you also have the LCD Lvds connector here. If you want to remove that, make sure you disconnect the battery, open up the computer, and then press and hold the power button for 10 to 15 seconds. When you open up the screen, you want to be very careful because now it's not using these two screws from those two hidden screws. So you might want to actually put the cover on, or just be very, very careful opening and slow closing this. All right, I'm going to make sure these screws are tight, because if these screws become loose, you can actually end up damaging the plastic casing. Okay, and they are nice and tight, so that's good. All right, so the main thing we're doing here is replacing the battery. If you want to see how to remove the other stuff, again, you can watch my other videos. Any laptop with an M.2 SSD, it's basically the same thing. All right, so to disconnect the battery, there's this metal tab here. Let me actually zoom in to show this better. Okay, so what you want to do is, I use my fingernail and I just push this metal tab back. All right, so here you can see it slid back slightly. Once you do that, you can get underneath here, and then you can kind of pull this plastic thing up just like that. All right, so now let's go ahead and zoom out and let's remove these screws for the battery. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit more. All right, so the replacement battery looks like this. All right, so if you're wondering, I don't know if there's an actual model. Oh, here, model number C31N1602. Okay, again, make sure you get the red on the left and the black on the center. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and remove the screws. Again, we're using the PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. So far, I didn't have to remove anything with the PH0 or JS0 screwdriver, but these screws on the motherboard look like you might need to use those little silver ones. But anyways, I'm not going to be removing those. We're just removing the battery, so let's go ahead and do that. It looks like this connector is on top of the battery, so we are going to have to disconnect this. So let's go ahead and remove these two screws. Oh, we have to use the PH0 or JS0 for that. Okay, so let's go ahead and, I'm getting a phone call and that stupid notification's in my way, but anyways, let's go ahead and remove the screws here. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. All right, so remove, there we go. Okay, so we got those two screws out. Once we get those screws out, again, since we're removing some connectors here, I'm actually going to carefully open up the laptop, and then I'm going to press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds. All right, so holding the power button right here. And this is, again, just to make sure that there's no power running through and that there's less risk of damaging the computer. Okay, so again, just holding it for about 15 seconds. All right, we should be good. And then now let's go ahead and pop this connector up. So I'm just getting underneath with my fingernails and we're just popping this. It kind of connects like a Lego. As you can see, it just pops out like that. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to the PH0 or JS0. Actually, okay, it looks like we have to take this side out as well. Kind of don't like that design. All right, let's go ahead and remove these screws. Again, using the PH0 or JS0 screwdriver. Okay, it's a little more difficult than I thought to remove this. I'm going to use this little plastic tool to peel up this adhesive here. Okay, so we're just going to get underneath. Then I'm going to use that to peel this back. There we go, just like that. All right, and then we're going to remove this screw down here. There we go, and we'll set that aside. So now we got all those out. All right, let's get out the screw right here. Oh, switch back to the PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. Okay, and then we got two screws down here and one more there, so we'll remove those last few screws. There we go. And then this one. All right, so now let's go ahead and lift this up. You want to be careful because the fan connector here is underneath. So let's go ahead and move that cable out of the way. All right, just lift it up and get it out of the way. And then we're going to go ahead and lift the battery out carefully, okay? Just like this, and there we go. So we got the old battery out. Here you can see the ASUS logo, same thing, battery model number C31N1602. Okay. So let's go ahead and put the replacement battery in now. So it goes like this. Make sure again this goes underneath. Okay, get that all lined up. All right, make sure all these little tabs, there's some protruding things sticking out. Make sure those all get lined up as well. This one, it looks like I might have to pull on it a bit. It's not lining up quite right. So let's see, how can I get this lined up right? Should I do the left side first? Okay, let's do, for some reason, it's not stretched out properly. So this side wasn't lining up right. What's that? Okay, get that lined up, get that lined up. Then you can go ahead and pull this over. Oops, let's go ahead and actually put this one screw in first because it keeps wanting to pop out. So we'll put this one screw in first, just like that. Right, then we'll work our way over. There we go, everything else lined up right. So it looks like we just had to get this one in first. It's a little stubborn, all right. Oops, make sure that tab is in as well. And then we'll get this screw down. All right, let's go ahead and get the rest of the screws in and we should be good to go. So it's pretty straightforward. There's not much to do with this laptop. Again, CPU also is soldered into place. So if you had that question, both speakers plug into this. This cable is pretty fragile, but you just grab the little black plastic part that's kind of out of this connector, and then you can kind of wiggle and pull it out. But again, just to avoid risking damaging anything, I'm not going to mess with anything unless I need to. Let's go ahead and get all these screws in. All right, get this screw in. Oh, this isn't lining up right. Let's see here. Oh, it needs to go up slightly. So a lot of these screw mounts aren't lined up quite right, it looks like. So let's see, just to make it so I can get that screw in, I'm going to take these screws back out. And hopefully I can kind of adjust it a little. Let's see. Okay, I think that kind of helped. Let's see here. Nope, it's still being weird. Let's lift this up and out of those clips. Okay. And then let's see if we can pull that over. That's going to be tough to fit in. I think I have to pull this while I'm putting the screw in. Okay, I think I actually got it. There we go. Nice. Okay, make sure all those are in. Let's go ahead and put those two screws back. Okay. We're also going to make sure to put that that tape that was over here. We're going to put that back in as well. All right, so let's go here. Switch over to the PH0 or JAS0 screwdriver again. Make sure to get this cable back in. Line it up. Click it down. Right. Make sure it's all lined up and in place. This cable is actually pretty flimsy and comes out on its own pretty easily. So actually these screws are required to hold it in properly. Okay. So if for some reason you lose these screws, then you're probably going to have a very tough time with this cable. It looks like it pops out very easily. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and get these two screws in. Go, nice. Make sure it's holding itself in. All right, so we're good to go. Let's go ahead and get that piece of tape back over here. All right, so we had this piece of tape. So we're just gonna stick it back over here like that. Stick it on. There we go. All right, so let's get the bottom cover. If you wanna see the clips, there's a few little clips here. Not much else. There's no clips on the front. All the clips are towards the back or the hinge area. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and snap this back in. So let's go ahead and line this up and then just click it all into place. Everything looks good. Make sure the front gets in, so this part, it shouldn't be sticking out. There you go. The flat edge should be hidden underneath the frame. Okay, So there we go. Everything looks good. Make sure it all lines up right. And all right, let's go ahead and put back the screws. So let's put the hidden screws first. These are, again, the PH1 or JS1 screws. Tighten that into place. And other than that, that's pretty much all there is to it. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my channel with others so that they can also learn how to upgrade and repair their devices. If this video helped you save a bunch of money, again, please consider contributing a little to the channel so I can continue making these videos for a living. Other than that, you're welcome to stay while I put back the rest of the screws, but we're pretty much good to go. Oh, oops. Silly me, I forgot to connect the battery. Yeah, you don't want to forget that. So let's go ahead and pop this back open again. My bad. That's a very important part. There's no point replacing the battery if you don't plug it in. Okay, let's go ahead and get this back out. All right, there we go. My bad. I guess you get to see again how to take the bottom cover off. This one wasn't too bad to remove, so yeah. All right, there we go. All the screws back out. I'm gonna turn this back over so it's easier. If you can't get underneath, just like that. Pull these inwards again. There we go. And yep, don't forget this cable. So again, left one, you want the red, and then the right side, you want the black. Or I guess it also depends which way you have your computer facing. Let's actually zoom in here and see if I can show this a little bit better. Okay, so this cable's a little bit longer, so I have to kind of move it a certain way, but there we go, just like that. Push that into place. All right, and then slide this latch back over. Okay, make sure it's in. Slide the metal latch back over. So the metal latch should be slightly over the top of that piece. Okay, make sure it's in right. Okay. Sorry, I have it outside of view. I was trying to make sure I have it in right. It seems like it should slide a tad bit more. Okay, there we go. So let's go ahead and zoom back out. All right, and put the thing back together. All right, so after this, we're of course gonna power it on, make sure everything's working. So if you want, you can stay for that. In some laptops, you actually have to put the charger back on before you can actually turn it on. So we'll see if that's the case with this model. I might have to ask the customer for their charger because I didn't get their charger from them. So let's go ahead and tighten this up. It's not lined up right. There we go. All right, let's put these rubber pieces back on. Just like this, and this one just like that. There we go. All right, we'll switch back over to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver, and we'll put back all these screws. But that's pretty much it. You're welcome to stay, as I said before. And then if you want to see it power up, then yeah. If you want, you can actually test turning it on before you put back all these screws. But I like to make sure that the computer is all being held together well. At least most of it. It's not too difficult to get this one apart, so might as well just make sure it's all put back together. Okay. Last few screws. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and flip this over and see if it powers up without the charger. All right, I see the light coming on, so we probably are good to go. Let's give it a bit. I didn't see a BIOS or CMOS battery, so most likely it uses this as the BIOS battery. So most likely right now it's resetting the BIOS. So the power light is on, and there we go. We got the ASUS screen coming up, and it's loading. So we should be good to go. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys. The date and time look correct, so I guess it didn't actually reset BIOS. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully this video helped you guys. Usually it's a good idea to do a restart on the computer after changing any hardware, so we'll restart it. But yeah, that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, let's drop this spike.